Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am going to be holding the phone up with one hand while I am making art. So apologies for the sound in the background. It is the air conditioner, and if you hear any kind of scribbling, that is because that's exactly what I'm doing. I am storyboarding, and I like to talk sometimes on the phone or whatever, and people will go, "What's that sound?" And I'm like, "That's me making art." They're like, "You can talk and do?" I'm like, "Yes, I do everything all at once," kind of like a Gemini. And I will be getting to Gemini, so thank you so much for the people that are asking. We're going to get there. Apologies for the delay on this one. I did say it was going to be one video a week, but I've been a bit depressed lately. Life isn't always easy. Definitely not easy for an extrasensory person or a mystic or anyone of that nature. Any of the deep thinkers, you're probably going to be absolutely alone. Yes, the world is changing very, very quickly and not in a good way, So that being said, the series that I am continuing today is Taurus. It is on the bull. I'll always love saying that word, bull. I have videos on Taurus already, so if you'd like to go and find, I think one of them is actually one of my most watched, most listened to videos, my podcast on the dark side of Taurus. So if you'd like to go check that out, go have a look. I'll wait here. I'll still be here. So the point of this series was actually to give people a little bit of an insight into understanding how to actually spot a particular sign in a person, because it's always a party trick. It's always something that I can do very, very easily. I was in class the other day as I am back studying. It's a bit different for me, with a group of people that I've been with for a while, and I was able to successfully tell 13 people. I got one wrong, but it was her rising sign that I got, which is what I've also mentioned here as well. So yes, physiological structures of a human are also interconnected to the spiritual world, to astrology. Once upon a time, many of you may not know this, but astrology and astronomy were actually linked together. The study of the correlations of our solar system and the planets and how they impact us were actually one. A lot of people don't understand and don't know that. And since a lot of this mysticism got kind of, gets a lot of the really heavy stuff gets quickly grabbed by like the church or the Vatican. A lot of information on this level can be expunged, can be controlled, eradicated, that type of thing, because knowledge is a very, very powerful thing. That it is usually harnessed or taken advantage or kept quiet. And we know that the word occult means secret anyway. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, is that yes, it is a little bit of a gift that I have. It's just something I've always been able to do. Energy has memory. Okay, so energy has memory. So back in the day, I used to place my hands on people's backs and get a download, because I was tuning into their frequency. It could be people they spoke with, places they went, things like that. But that's another video for another time. So the point of this is to get you guys to understand that there is a very, very strong correlation to what someone looks like physiologically. When energy or the soul came in to incarnate, it came here for a very specific reason at a very specific time. I know some of you may not know this, but there are a lot of souls waiting to kind of come in, that would love to come here. And it's not like they're waiting and sitting around chilling, they're just in the ether. that's another story. So, Taurus, the bull. This is one of the easiest ones to spot. Now, I have mentioned before that usually someone's rising sign is the sign that someone looks like the most. As we age and we go through different phases of our life, and we go through different lessons and move through different planetary phases as well. We go through Jupiter, we go through Venus, love, we go through the expansions of things, we go through the crushing, trials and tribulations of Saturn. You go through all of these things, and then you kind of shift and change and morph depending on, I'm summarizing the hell out of this basically. You shift and change and morph physiologically as you age, as the soul ages. Or the soul doesn't age because it's immortal, but because it's a fractal of the universe of source, but the body ages, and that's a natural phase of life. And I think that, if there's one sign that knows that innately, it is the Taurus. I'm very, very fond of the Taurian people. I have a Taurus mother, so my mum's a Taurus, so I understand, quite a lot about them. And if you have a good Taurus, a Taurus that is very stoic and very present within themselves, the first thing that you will notice is a kind of peaceful presence about them. Okay, so physiologically, there is an energy pattern with them that is quite peaceful, and it is quite solid. If this was an energy sequence, it would be like an oak tree, like wood. Okay, there is an earthiness to them. So that we know the ruling planet of the bull is Venus. But originally, the original planet for Taurus was actually planet Earth. So that's why these guys are so embedded in the earth element. They're so embedded in the physical world. This is a fixed energy. When you meet a Taurus person, they usually stare at you. Now, I've talked about this before in other videos. Taurians have a very strong stare. A lot of them are not big talkers. They won't be talkative, like overly chatty, unless they have some level of an air sign in their big three, in their rising or in their moon. They are very quiet. Their energy is very passive. It's very peaceful. It's very gentle. Think of like the actual animal itself. Always think of the animal itself, because the Taurus has an eye, or has an eyelid, that actually usually is quite heavily set. And if you look at it from an angle, in a lot of cases you'll notice with Taurus people, their eyelashes actually go downwards like a cow. So they actually, in a lot of ways, their eyes look very kind of cow-like. And it's actually a really beautiful thing. I've always had an appreciation for the beauty of a bull. The energy of a bull is this is a very powerful being that can knock things over. It's very strong. It's not weak. Okay, so they have a strength to them. The Taurus people have a patient understanding that nothing's going to come quick. If they're an impatient Taurus, that's because they've got a Sagittarius or an Aries or a Gemini moon. But if you meet someone and they've got kind of like the cow eye, they've got a very stoic energy to them, they're quite reserved. They're not going to give you all their secrets away like the Cancer will. Cancers are very, very secretive anyway. They're not going to share really much about themselves with you like the Scorpion. But Taurus can be a little bit like that as well. So they hang back. It takes time for them to warm up to you. This is not an energy that's going to be like, hey, it's me, I'm here. Everyone, it's me. That's not a Taurus. That's like a Leo. All right. So these guys are in the background, and a lot of them are very present with nature and very present with the material world. This is slow and steady wins the race. A lot of them have very, very strong shoulders, very wide set shoulders and sternums. The usual body shape of a Taurus is very voluptuous and, very big breasts, very wide curves, thick necks, beautiful big hands that were meant to build things and make things. A lot of Taurian people work in trades. A lot of Taurus men are tradies. They will build a house with their hands. And the way that the Taurus loves you is they may lick your whole face. They'll lick your eyes. They'll stick their tongue in your nose. They'll stick their tongue in your ears. They're very, very primal and very visceral. So depending on where the moon is placed, of course, sexually with a Taurus, you can have some of the hottest, most sensual sex you'll ever have in your life with this person, with this Taurus energy. Okay, so once the Taurus is really turned on in the bedroom, you know that they're going to probably want to sit on your face. They're going to want you to sit on their face. They want to taste you. They want to eat you up. And then after that, they want to cuddle you, and they want to be comfortable, and they want something to eat. It's all about the food as well. A lot of Taurus people are chefs, or they work in kitchens, or they know how to cook. These guys know how to cook, and they know how to fuck. Okay, so straight up off the bat, you'd be hard pressed to find a Taurus that is just clueless in the bedroom. If they're in tune with themselves, this is a very sexual energy. But like I said, it takes time. You can't just approach a Taurus person and, this is the slow boiling pot on the kitchen stove. And I hope that I'm really explaining that to you, because I want you to understand that that's the real truth about this energy when you meet them. They have very, very thick necks. You'll find the neck shape of a Taurus is very strong. And you may even see the trachea, or like the front, in the front of their throat. You may see muscles around their throat a lot when they express themselves. And that's just kind of what, like, their energy is: strong, gentle, soft, and generally quite stoic and masculine. They're in their body. They're not out in space like an Aquarius. They're not off in some other world like a Gemini. And Taurians go through phases of their life where when they're young, in their younger years, they do get out and about. Like, this sign does love, obviously, drinking, food, having a good time, meeting different people. They like a good time. But when a Taurus ages, it's like the Cancer. It's like a fine wine. They may have once danced to a song really madly and really crazy, like really in it and really feeling the vibe of that for the first time when they're in their younger years. That kind of over-optimistic exuberance of youth that we all kind of have had is very Taurus. And then as they get older, they'll hear that same song that they once danced to, and they'll reflect on that. They'll sit with that song and remember a time that they were so happy and bubbly and bouncy to that energy in that song, but they become very reflective, like the Cancers. And a lot of Tauruses, like the Cancer as well, this is why I'm doing Taurus after Cancer and how to spot them, is they often come home as they age. Like a honing pigeon, they return home. So wherever they went to, they may travel the world, they may live in different parts of the world. But when the Taurus starts to age, much like the Cancer, they tend to return backwards to themselves. And I've noticed that quite a bit as well. So you'll see lots of picture frames, like the Cancers. I'll have like on their Facebook posts, I'll have like pictures of their kids. They're very fond of their kids. A lot of them see their kids as an attachment to them. So they have a lot of love and patience for their kids. They're very patient people. Don't ever piss off a Taurus, because when you've gone too far and the Taurus loses their mind, they could easily kill you. These guys have super strength. When they're running on adrenaline, they could do super damage. So when a Taurus is threatened, when the bull is provoked, it will take a little bit of time to get to that point. But think of like the Juggernaut from X-Men. You know, he's got that helmet on his head because he can just smash through things. So there's like a gentle giant energy to these people. A lot of them are quite stocky. If you meet a Taurus that's stick thin with really, really big boobs, that would probably be, I've noticed, because there's a Sagittarian placement in their rising. So this is Venus, which is the most beautiful, energy. Obviously, the dark side of the sun and the black sun of Venus is Luciferic, but in a Taurus world, it's all about nature and plants and animals and rocks and minerals and the forces that hold the world together, because that's where they came from. They're of that. And a lot of them know that, and they're very in tune with that. A lot of them have a green thumb. They'll be in their garden. If you spot an older man that has like an azalea collection, or goes to plant shows, or sells plants on like Gumtree, or buy, swap and sell, or Facebook groups and stuff where they give people plant advice, that type of thing. Poison Ivy from Batman, the animated series, she would be a Taurus. She is in tune with like animals and nature, and although she's like taken it to a complete extreme, like an eco-terrorist, that is the type of dark side of the dark feminine of this sign. The dark side of a Taurus woman is a scorned lover that takes it too far. And so I've known a lot of female Tauruses that have made quite a lot of money out of sex work. Because they're very sexual, they're very sensual. They'll have people admiring them. And the Taurus's love language is service, like Virgo. So in a relationship, this sign, when they love you, these guys really go all in. Like they will support you, they will look after you. Intuitively, much like Cancer, they'll put a pot of soup on Monday on the stove, and then it's like, see how long that pot will last, and that soup will be very hearty. But yeah, the darker aspect of the Taurus woman is Poison Ivy, which is materiality and using forces that are stronger than her to make them feel safe. So having like bodyguards, having people on hand that can do really heavy duty stuff for them, by using, sexual power over people. That's a part of a Taurus woman that a lot of Taurus women have, much like the Scorpions, because the Scorpions and Tauruses are very similar in that regard. So I have done a video on the dark feminine, which I have talked about in other videos as well. So this is Venus. So a lot of them have a real affinitive nature to nature. So butterfly prints in their house, trinkets with cups, with clouds and mermaids and magical creatures, animals and plants and things like that. A picture of a bird would be when you go to their house, a lot of them are maximalists. So much like the Cancers, lots of teacups and they're always decorating their house like a Cancer. Their house is very important to them. So it has to be at a level of cleanliness and presentation that is acceptable. If a Taurus's space is particularly messy, it means the Taurus is going through something, because these guys need routine, they need structure. A lot of Taurian men you'll find are in the Navy or in the Army. A lot of them need that routine. This is like drill sergeant, yes sir type of thing. That discipline creates freedom, and they know that. The Taurians also know early in life, much like Capricorn, that you have to either suffer early or suffer later. There's no in between. So a lot of Taurian people can be artists, but if they are an artist like myself, you have to be willing to actually jump in and back yourself fully and go all in, which means that you have to really believe in the quality of your work and what you're doing. And so if a Taurus pursues art, which is very unusual because a lot of them will pursue financial things like accounting. A lot of them work in accounting or they work in finance, much like the Capricorn and the Cancer. They need to feel safe. And so money makes the Taurus feel safe. They must have the money. If the money isn't right, the Taurus isn't right. Okay, so if you meet them, and Taurian people need to have that backup account because it makes them feel safe. Same with the Cancers. You can't approach this sign or expect to get anywhere with them unless you bring a level of peacefulness and safety to them first. The Taurus isn't usually going to get their clothes off for you, and Taurian people can go for long, long periods of time without any sex because they don't want shitty sex. They want really, really hot, passionate, primal sex. All right, so that's how this sign works. This sign isn't like a Sag, where a Sag or a Libra that will just fuck you to meet you. These guys can be like that, but yeah, unless they'll keep you where they need you. A lot of the time, that's where a lot of frustration comes out around this sign, is that the Taurus is always looking for safety, and in that, they're always looking for their best option. Okay, so unfortunately, that's how they are wired. Taurian men mature later. They're not the best life partners in their 20s because they're just too young. They just need more time to sow their oats and to see who's around, because Taurian people like to be dads and mums. That's innately in who they are. A lot of them procreate. A lot of them have kids, and many kids. So I hope that made sense. A lot of this sexually, the Taurus energy would probably prefer a blowjob over a fuck a lot of the time. So foreplay is very important. And I keep coming back to the sexual aspect of this sign, but I kind of have to, because it's like that's in their nature. This sign also should not be doing any level of polyamory. That is also, like the Cancer, very, very bad. It will end badly for them, and it can really cause a lot of damage. But yeah, I mean, it's all about the food. So a lot of them have worked in cafes, worked as chefs. A lot of them have that crazy cafe kitchen energy. All of the orders come in and they're going off their fucking head, and they've got the pots and the pans and everything's banging around and they're screaming and yelling. And then the good thing about a Taurus is once it's over, it's done. And if they're really mature, it's really a great thing to work with a Taurus. Like, I could work with a Taurian. One of my closest friends is a Taurus, and we talk quite frequently, and she's over in Canada. We chat all the time, when we can. And I just feel like I know her. And with a Taurus, they invest in friendships with people that last. This sign wants to make connections with people that will go on forever. They don't want to invest in time and energy like a Scorpion. They're very meticulous with their energy. So they're not interested in fair weather friends. Like a Sagittarius or a Gemini can have lots and lots of friends. This sign is not like that. It's slow and steady stability. And if you send them a Christmas card, you'll get one back. If you send them a birthday gift, you'll get one back. They're very much about measuring things, much like going back to the accounting. Measuring things is very much in the Taurus's nature. And not, measuring things not in the way like Libra does, like scales on a marketplace. Taurus is value of energy and exchange and it's like metal meets propulsion, like a gun. So a lot of them can be quite explosive, and when they settle down as they age, that's the best that Taurus will be, is when they settle down and they age and they become quite calm. Because when you meet someone that knows when enough is enough, and they're content and they're happy with life, they have enough food in the fridge. Taurus will always have like tins of beans in their fridge. They'll have tins of sardines, things that they can use to make things. This sign would rather cook at home most of the time than being bothered dressing up and going out and putting on some kind of performative thing. They don't like performative stuff. So when you talk to these guys on the phone, you have to be real. You have to be raw. So you'll expect them, when they're talking to you, to brush their teeth or to take a piss while they're talking to you. They'll sit on the toilet while they're talking to you. A lot of them will just leave the bathroom door open. A lot of them that are very comfortable with their body, they don't really have that level of, there's no shame here. They're like, this is my form. This is the human physical form that I'm born into. And I really love that about Taurus women. Like, they really own their bodies a lot of the time. They're very natural looking. They don't want to morph or change or blow anything up in their lips or anything. They kind of understand that life, aging is a natural part of life, and a lot of them know that, and they don't want to change that. They don't want to go through the pain of getting injections and stuff. So there is a beauty to a Taurus woman as they age. It's just like there's a beauty to a Taurus man. I actually had love for a Taurus man once that I'd kind of fallen for, but of course he was already partnered, and a lot of them like to play around and play and stuff, but it just wouldn't ever work because I'd never be someone's second best option. And once someone shows me that they like that, it's like they've already kind of shown you who they are, like that's their psychology. And so I wouldn't want to change someone if that's who they are, but I would understand that that isn't what I want, is that I'm a one-man show kind of thing. So yeah, it's that whole have my cake and eat it too, like to keep things spicy. And it usually, as always, it always kind of backfires on them in the end. I've always noticed that. That's why this sign should always be in more of a one, partnership with someone that really sees them and understands them. So yeah, they'll have lots of T's. If you go to their house, you'll see lots of T's. And their eyes usually can be quite far apart as well. So you will notice there will be a bit of a distance between this space of their two eyes. Virgo will also have this as well. If you meet someone who's a Virgo and they've got like their eyes are really kind of a little bit too far wide, which is a beautiful thing, you'll see that that's actually, that's the Taurus energy there. But yeah, quite round faces usually, round in the face. But yeah, it's about stability with this sign. If you want to build a home with them, if you want to build a world with them, they're the sign for that. If you're ready to settle down, this sign, and they're ready to settle down, a lot of them don't want to go through, the bullshit of having to meet their partner's family and then breaking up with someone and then having to start all over again and meet the next partner's family and having to start all over again. So the Taurus would hate that. So a lot of them would rather just be like, let's work with what we have and stick it out. And so I remember, being in a relationship in my early 20s with a Taurus briefly and having a complete meltdown, and the Taurus stood in front of the door and said to me, you're not going anywhere. We're staying here and we're working this out. And I think that to me was one of the most amazing things that a Taurus can be. They can really be that for you. So if you're down on the ground and you're crying to a Taurus or to a Cancer, and you're pouring out your heart to them, that's romantic to them because you're showing them who you really are, and that makes them feel safe. The worst, oh, by the way, if you meet a Taurus and they're in some kind of state of avoid attach, like attach avoid dynamic, where they court you, date you, meet you, get to know you, and you think it's going somewhere, and then all of a sudden they kind of retreat and disappear, that is a terrible thing to behold. And I've noticed that with Taurus people in particular, because if you don't know what that is, it's basically when someone likes the ideology of a relationship and may even show signs of interest and give out all the signals that they want to be with you and want you, court you even for a period of time. And then the moment it goes up a notch, they go, oh, you're going to take away my freedom. You're going to take away my independence. I have to retreat. And then they'll do the, it's not you, it's me. That's a very Taurus thing, very, very Taurus thing to do. It's a very Sagittarius thing to do sometimes as well. It's really damaging. But yeah, that's how they are. So you avoid, and if you meet any level, if you're dating and you're trying to get to know a Taurus and you're listening to this, if you ever meet a Taurus that's that way inclined, do not follow them. Do not pursue them in that way. This sign needs lots and lots of alone time, and they like to sleep a lot. Okay, so their bedroom is their home. Their bed is their world. A sleep-in for a Taurus is a wonderful thing if they can have the luxury of doing it. A lot of them are mechanics. A lot of Taurus men are mechanics as well. Like they're working with oil and changing gears in cars and things like that. Very, very sexy, very sexual, because it's a daddy thing. Like a lot of daddy Taurus people, a lot of mummy Taurus people, they've got the mummy thing going on. They'll attract a lot of younger people that will be interested in pursuing relationships with them because they have disgusting mummy issues, which a lot of Taurus women already know. But yeah, they make that level of partner they're good around the house. They know how to fix things. They just know how to do shit. You know, they're very practical, down to earth and grounded. So they want you to be the same way, and that's how they like it. So if you're fake, if you're phony, much like with the Sagittarius cannot be fucked with that. So it's probably better that you just show up and just be like, this is my childhood trauma. This is me when I was a kid. This is da-da-da-da-da. Because they know that that's what they're going to get with you anyway. They know that when you meet someone, we put on this kind of performative thing, like a dance, when we're trying to get someone to court us or date us. And then it's kind of like we do this kind of 180 where when we're in the relationship, you know, the walls go down and then you see who they really are. Taurus already innately know that most of life is just acting. They innately know that when you go to work, you're putting on a character. They know that. So the quickest way to just build trust with them is to get them to see that you know that too, and there's no need for that here. We can just be honest and talk about the real shit. And because that's just life, like bodily functions to a Taurus is just another part of life. Like they don't care. They've got a very realistic and practical, grounded level to the world. And so listening to childhood songs and memories a lot is a Taurus thing to do. If you can give them a massage, I get a lot of them a massage therapist, or they're very good with their hands. Their hands is a very big focus to their work. And a Taurus woman that's in her power she could handle a bigger guy on her own, like physically. This sign will headbutt you and smash your skull. All right, don't be fooled about the gentleness of the bull. There is a viciousness to them if they feel provoked. So be slow, be gentle, be kind. Also, another one, Taurus is all about scent. So if you meet someone that's all about smelling things and fragrances, they may even have worked at one point within some level of the beauty industry, selling fragrances, sniffing things. This sign will keep your underwear and put it in a drawer and sniff it. They will sniff your shirt. They will sniff their partner's clothing. They can tell when you're cheating on them by sniffing you. These guys have, their sense of smell is so strong. So you have to have a real level of cleanliness to you as well. All right. So if you have some level of hygiene problem around the body, the mouth, the BO, they are out of there. All right. So you've got to have the A game hygiene, much like with the Virgo. Virgos are the same, fixed energy. Once the Taurus has made up their mind that you're the one, if they've picked you as a partner, it's actually quite difficult to lose them. You have to really have hurt the Taurus for them to be driven away. And that's a really strong thing. The beauty of a Taurus is this sign really stands by their partners. So this is a sign that when they said, I do, at the aisle, a lot of these Taurus people, if they're not players and working on Wall Street, they meant it. All right, they meant it. They understand that death, till death do us part. They don't want to be stuck in some shitty marriage and in a divorce court in the next couple of years. These sign is very, like, they're built to have kids. They're built to be parents. They're built like that. They're built for life. It's a heavy duty, long lasting, slow battery. That is the bull. All right, that is the energy signature of them. So, you know, they like knits, knitted jumpers, wool jumpers, fabrics, linen, nice quality things. Don't buy them something cheap and shitty, okay? That's lame. They will see that as weak. The energy that you give them is what they give you. If you are lazy, the Taurus will be lazy with you, all right? If a Taurus doesn't get back to you, they're just not interested. It's okay, let it go. And that's the same thing I tell anyone, is how someone treats you shows you how much value they place in you. So I don't want to bastardize the Taurians, because a lot of them are very beautiful people and I don't want to be mean to them on any level. But that's the energy signature that you're dealing with is what I'm explaining to you here. So, and of course it comes in different combinations. So obviously it could be a smaller shaped Taurus, could be very bouncy and bubbly. Well, then it probably has more air sign in their chart. If it's more watery and they like to sit in the bath for ages and build like a really nice cocoon, which a lot of them do, they love being in the bath. Sitting in the bath, you know, a lot of them, I knew a Taurus woman that used to sit in the bath for like 7 hours straight, just like watching movies with her phone, fucking around on her phone. This sign needs genuine bed days where they just spend a whole day in bed. Like a Taurus person will spend a whole day in bed with you if they're into you. It's a really amazing thing. Like this sign is a great lover, and I am quite fond of them as well. Like I could date a Taurus, we could work together. Like if I had a business arranged, if there was any sign in the zodiac that I would choose as a business partner that I know would be able to stay up all night working out taxes and finances and actually do the real heavy duty lifting of running a real business, it would be a Taurus. Like we could work together to build a business. Even if it was just selling coffees or ice creams or something, we could work together, because Taurus is very goal orientated and materiality and the pleasures of life, you know, and that's a thing. Taurians know that to have a good life and to do the travel, you've got to get the money to do that. And they do. So that's what it is. So I will leave it here. I hope that this video has helped. This is how you spot them. This is how you know that they're a Taurus. It's how you court them, how you get them closer to you. And, you know, just see them around. A lot of neutral colors for this sign. They're not going to be really over the top. They're not going to have like leopard print fur on. They like denim, jeans. This sign would be like Sagittarius. They wear boots. They prefer work boots. They like their hands dirty because it shows everyone who they are. So they are practical, grounded, stable, sensible people. They're not going to jump into anything without thinking it through first. This is the energy, like if it was the Three Little Pigs, this one builds their house made out of bricks. They're not going to jump into something that doesn't have longevity, because it's just going to be wasting time. They want to build a relationship that is real. That is why this is one of the best signs to be with. And if it got nasty, this sign can get very, very nasty, particularly around aspects of materiality. A lot of Taurian men that get divorced and feel like they got the wrong end of the stick in divorce will actually become very, very nasty and hostile. So much like the Scorpion, they can hold grudges, but generally when they blow their temper, it's over, it's done, and we're all just moving on. And that's a good thing about the Taurus. Lots of animals for this sign as well. They usually are very good with animals naturally, that Venus energy, much like Libra. They'll have lots of cats, they'll rescue animals off the street, that type of thing. Really beautiful, beautiful energy to work with. I hope I've explained this to you. This is how you spot them. If you see them around, that's how you know. Think of things like accountants, property managers, working in nurseries with plants, working with food. A lot of them end up working in hospitality. Ultimately, a Taurus really should be running their own business. A lot of them will work in agriculture. They will study the science behind growing things, working on fields. They don't like change a lot either, so be careful with that. You need to really know who you are, because if you change on them while they're with you, it won't be safe. They'll turn on you. This sign needs stability, dependability, because that's what they bring. It's like a really solid oak tree. And so you have to build a lot of strength in the base of the root system of the tree to withstand life and the wind and all of the problems. So this would be the least divorced sign of the zodiac. The most divorced sign in the zodiac would be Pisces or Gemini. All right, so lots of love. Please leave a comment below. If you know any Taurian people, let me know. Are you a Taurus person? What do you think? Did I get it right? Lots and lots of love to you. I'm not sure. I'm just getting like ceramics in my head, like working with clay and making like pots on the spinning wheel. That's such a Taurus thing to do. Oh, God, I'm getting a little bit gushy because it's like it brings out the softer, gentler side of me. The romanticism of this sign is very romantic as well. So a lot of them may end up in rural coastal towns. A lot of Taurian people, as they get older, would probably get out of the metropolitan living. So a lot of them would be like on a very windy, cold seaside town with big 20-foot waves over the edge of a rocky cliff, and they'll be holding your hand looking out into the sea. That is the Taurus. All right, roses, crystals, the bee, honey. All right, Taurus. Lots of love. Bye, bye, bye.